Welcome back for this final segment of Broncos Beat. This week, the Broncos will host their second AFC West opponent in as many weeks, but this time, instead of taking on the MVP Patrick Mahomes, the Broncos will be facing rookie quarterback Justin Herbert, who looks like an MVP title right now, maybe in his future. I'm not saying this year, guys, but Justin Herbert is a lot better than some naysayers believed. What kind of challenges can he create for Denver's defense?
Well, Alexis, I think the Broncos might want to look back a couple of weeks, dust off the Cam Newton game plan here that they used against the Patriots, because I think the Broncos are going to see a lot of the same type of designed runs from the Chargers that they saw with the Patriots yesterday against Jacksonville. Herbert was the leading rusher for the Chargers. So I think Herbert's actually got better weapons than Cam did with the Patriots. Think of Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry. I think those guys are better than anything that Denver saw in Foxborough. And I also think that Herbert's a better passer than a lot of people gave him credit for coming out of Oregon. So it's going to be a big challenge.
Justin Herbert is more than a big arm. I remember watching him down at the Senior Bowl and thinking, man, that guy is a robot. And he's programmed quite well by the Chargers. And here's the main thing about Justin Herbert, and this may not sound like a compliment, but it really is. He looks like a young Joe Flacco. Let me explain. When Joe Flacco came out of Delaware, he was cool Joe, right? You couldn't rattle him. You cannot rattle Justin Herbert. You just can't. You pressure him, you blitz him, you sit in the house, and the kid's just out there slinging it quite beautifully, as Matt points out. So I think the main thing with this young QB and why he doesn't look like a young QB is because pressure doesn't bother him.
It doesn't bother him at all, Cecil. I've done 2 of the Chargers games this season against the Bucs and against the Saints. 2 games they probably should have won. Actually, they hit the upright in New Orleans, and they should have won that game easily. But a lot of it is because of the throws that he has made, and specifically the throws he has made off script. That's something that they're going to have to worry about, and they're coming off of a week where they spent a lot of time practicing for that second portion of a play when they were working for Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the game didn't play out that way, but their week of preparation for Mahomes was like that, Alexis. And that's where you see the special plays from Justin Herbert, where he makes plays with his legs, where he will run it, but he'll also roll out. And to me, the one that sticks out, Cecil, is the one that he makes rolling out in New Orleans. And then it hits Keenan Allen in the corner of the end zone on a ball that very few people can throw on the run. But there are mistakes that he makes as well. So there's going to be more opportunities probably this week for a turnover than there was last week against Patrick Mahomes. But the coaches that I've talked to there, Cecil's right. The way he stands in there and takes hits and delivers the football is one of the biggest reasons why they made the quarterback switch when they did, because he won over that locker room very quickly.
Well, Sunday against the Jags, he threw for 3 touchdowns, which according to Next Gen Stats, Herbert is now the only quarterback with 3+ deep touchdown passes of 20 or more air yards in a game this season. So in order to do that, you really have to have weapons like Matt mentioned. Who are some of his most reliable weapons that we can look for?
Keenan Allen, of course, is going to be a target. Everybody in the league says Allen's one of the best route runners in the NFL, and I think the film backs that up. Mike Williams has been kind of hit or miss. Justin Jackson, rushing the ball, okay. But Herbert's really the guy, is really the trigger man for both the passing and rushing attack for
He's the
Chargers.
weapon.
Yeah, he really is, because if you look at the game against the Tampa Bay Bucs, they took guys off the street, off their practice squad that he was throwing bombs to over a very, very good defense. We're seeing how good that group is in Tampa. And some of those guys came off the practice squad that week. If that doesn't show you kind of how his aggression is towards making plays with almost anybody, it's a very evident there. But at the same time, once he became the starter, Keenan Allen's targets skyrocketed compared to when Tyrod Taylor was in there. So he is going to look Keenan Allen's way regularly. But Hunter Henry is definitely a player in the middle of the field that you're going to have to be concerned with. He is a guy that everybody's kind of been waiting for. There's other options there, Cecil. But to me, Hunter Henry is a guy you do have to keep one of your eyes on in a bit.
Well, I think Matt points out the most important thing, and you highlighted as well, James. It's anybody. You bring up Joe Reed, who I saw down at the Shrine game, and Broncos actually talked to him. But you're Jalen Guyton, right? It's anybody. He is spreading the ball around so much that it's, yes, mostly Keenan Allen, but he's not just locked on to one guy. He is a guy that's going to spread the ball around. So it's anybody's guess as to who it could be. Joshua Kelly as the receiver out of the backfield this week as the Chargers move forward without Austin Eckler. Won't be back for a few more weeks, most likely. So Justin Jackson, Joshua Kelly, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Donald Parham, like anybody.
Cecil's listing the roster over here.
Exactly, because Herbert spreads it around so well.
All right, guys, if the Broncos can get a win over the Chargers, they'll then face the Falcons, who are struggling mightily this season. And if they could prove to be a better team in that game, they could find themselves 500 at the halfway point of this season. So this week, a win could really be a season-altering win for this team. Who needs to step up and make it happen for the Broncos?
I think specifically, Alexis, it's the tackles. I think these guys probably in their preparation each and every week have gone, all right, we got Pittsburgh's defense. Okay, who do we got? We got Tampa's defense. All right, who we got? We got the Chargers. We got Frank Clark. Now they have two guys coming at them. Once again, the two are the best in football. Joey Bosa is absolutely disruptive on every single play. I have talked to people in the Chargers organization who just rave about how flexible he is, how much of an athlete people don't understand he is. Those guys could wreck a game, him and Ingram. I think that's a big spot. If Drew Lock has time to throw, he could go throw for throw with Justin Herbert, but he's going to need time to do it.
Yeah, I think James, you're absolutely right. One other position I want to add is the wide receiver group. I think they didn't have their best game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And talking to Tim Patrick last week, he knows this is one of the most banged up groups that the Broncos have, but they want to make sure that production level stays the same. So I think KJ Hamler wants a little bit of redemption. I think Jerry Jeudy wants to show what he can do. I just think the wide receivers really need to have a better game if they're going to allow Drew Lock to play up to his capabilities against the Chargers.
All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this week's edition of Broncos Beat. We will see you same time, same place next Monday.